Hey everybody, welcome to art class. I'm your art teacher, Mr. Mingoni, and today we're going to be doing something called op art. All right, op art is a type of art that stands for optical illusion art. So we're going to look at some examples of that, talk about what that means, and we're also going to use some skills that we learned earlier on and apply to our op art. It's going to be really cool. So optical illusion, what does that mean? Optical means your eyes, all right? And illusion means you're kind of seeing something that isn't really there. So it's kind of art that plays tricks on your eyes a little bit. It's pretty fun to play around with. So let's take a look at some examples. Here I just have a Google search where I looked up op art, okay? So we see a lot of different kinds of stuff here. This is actually the type of art we're going to make today, right here, that one. But let's look at some other ones. We see a lot of interesting stuff with lines and shapes. So like this one has the illusion that, it looks like a sphere. It looks like there's kind of a round, like a ball shape on this flat checkerboard. That's the illusion. Really, it's just a flat piece of paper, right? Or like this one. It's kind of hard to see, but it almost looks like it's curved. Right? A lot of times people use black and white and use lines and shapes to create those curved type things. Or something like this. Something like this just really plays with your eyes. It almost, the lines almost kind of dance around. So that's some interesting stuff. So op art likes to play with your eyes. We're going to do an artwork sort of like this one here. There's different examples, or like this one. And we're going to take a look at what makes these look like they're 3D. So, first of all, let's just get a real solid example here. Let's look at this one here. So if we look at this, those shapes look like they're round, right? And what I'm seeing here, well, why don't you take a look for a minute and see if you can figure out, why does this look 3D? How does this look round? What's making it look that way? Take a good look at it. What I'm seeing is the edges of the shape are a little darker. Like if we just look at one of these stripes, the edge here is dark purple, it gets lighter, and then what is this in the middle? White, right? And that white going all the way down, that's what creates like a shine down the middle. And then the dark on the edge creates sort of a shadow, right? So let's look at some of the other ones. Check this one out. These ones are a little more kind of free-formed shapes, but they have the same idea. Like this one right here, you can see the shadow, the dark on the edge, then it gets to middle, and then it's completely white in the middle. So it has the shine and then the shadow. Okay? So we're going to play around with this a little bit. This is going to be a really good practice for your shading, and it's just a fun project because it ends up looking really cool. And I'll show you how this works. So let me get my camera down here. Alright, and then there we go. Okay, that works. So I'm going to be using colored pencils for this one, but you definitely can do this with just a regular pencil, okay? So I'll kind of show you how you would do it if you just had a pencil too, because I like my students to be able to use whatever they got. There's two different ways you can do this, so I'm actually going to divide my paper in half. I'll do one on this side, one on this side, okay? So the one way to do this is you draw some lines from corner to corner. That wasn't even perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Lines from corner to corner. We'll do one here and one here. Okay, just like that. So make like a big plus and then an X. And just make sure they all meet at the same point in the middle. And then you'll be good. Okay. The other way you could do it, and why don't you choose which way you want, is to kind of make wiggly lines going this way. They can like get bigger and smaller if you want. It doesn't really matter. You're just kind of making some wiggly lines going up and down. And we're going to make these weird kind of shapes. And you know, if you kind of want to alter this a little bit and do it a little differently, if you have a different kind of shape you want to do, like, let me just give some other examples. Like, maybe, excuse me, I want to have one that like spirals in like this. You see that? You could do something like that. Or I don't know, really the possibilities are endless. You can do it differently if you want. That's kind of a cool way. I like that. So, let's start with the basics of this, with this example here. What you want to do, you're going to draw these kind of rainbow lines. So you start on one edge, and you make it go up, over, and down, like a pretty steep rainbow. You know, the more it goes up and back down, the more 3D it's going to look. If it's a little more flat, it's not going to look as 3D. And then, you know, you're just going to do a few of those. You don't want to do too many, because you're going to color each one a different color. So, you know, if you do it like this, you see how I'm doing them so close together? That's going to be a lot to color, and that's not very realistic for the time we have. So you want to space them out a little bit. Unless you want to spend extra time on it and do it that way, that's fine. But you see, I'm just doing these rainbow kind of shapes throughout the whole thing. And even that, without doing any shading, is going to start to give it a nice 3D effect. See that? And then if you're doing the other one, say you're doing this one, it's the same idea, you know, you just kind of go one way with it. See how that works? Give it that 3D look. Okay? And sometimes people will go the other way, like it'll go up on this one and then the next one will go down. That can be kind of an interesting way to play with, you know, your eye to create a weird optical illusion, like they're going different ways. That's kind of cool. So you're just going to create those rainbow lines on all your shapes, okay? I'm just going to do this one. Actually, I think I'll do this one. I like this one. Alright. So, I'll just kind of show you how to shade these. I'm going to pick a color. I'm going to do like a different color alternating. So like, I'll start with just my regular blue here. And here's the idea, okay? It's going to be dark, as dark as you can get it down on the edges, right? And that's the shadow part. As dark as you can get there. And then it's just like we practiced with when we did value scales or when we did shading on objects and things. You're just going to make it get lighter and lighter. You see that? I'm making it get lighter and lighter. And then the middle, make sure you get, so it's just like barely, it's almost white. Let me zoom in on my paper here. You see that? I'm coloring, but it's like, watch, I'm going to the middle, and then my lightest tone is like just barely there. And then you leave some pure white in the middle. See how I did that? And I'm going to skip to the next one because I'm going to alternate colors. So, you know, I'll do the dark blue here. And I personally like to just do all of one color first and then go on to the next color, but you can do it differently if you want. Getting lighter. You at least want to have like a dark, middle, and light tone, and then just white in the middle. And then you'll be pretty good for this. And, you know, as you do this, you're going to start to see it coming alive. Your coloring doesn't have to be totally smooth and perfect. You know, we've talked about this before where some people prefer to have super smooth shading. Some people like it to be a little scratchy like this. That's fine. Whatever, however is your style. Alright, so you can see that's starting to look sort of 3D. I'm going to pick a different color. Maybe I'll do red. No, I'll do green. So I'm going to get as dark as I can on the bottom, shading it lighter and lighter as I go in. And if you're doing it with I'll show you some techniques if you're doing pencil as well to help you with this. If you're just doing like a regular non-colored pencil. This is going to be a little harder with markers. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely going to be harder to do with markers. You don't quite get that. Like if you press harder with a marker, it's not really darker. There's kind of different ways to achieve shading with markers. It's tough, but not impossible. Dark here, getting lighter. Dark here, getting lighter. And one more up here. There we go. Going dark to light. See that? Okay, that looks pretty cool. You can definitely see the 3D effect. If I were doing a black and white one, let me show you that on here, okay? This is going to be the black one, so it's going to be dark, middle, and light, just like the other ones. As dark as I can get. Dark, middle, and light. Leaving some white in the middle, and you can even erase some if you want to add that extra shine. Okay? Now, how am I going to make this one look white if I'm just using a pencil? The key is you just go lighter. So I start with like a middle or a light tone, and then you just get lighter like that. Just barely shade the white ones. You don't have to do a lot. You see that? And then back to the dark one. And into a light one where I'm barely shading on that one. You see that? It looks like the black and white. You still have the shadow on here. The shadow's just darker on the black one. It's just lighter on the white one. Okay, so that's how you would do it with just a regular pencil. That looks pretty nice too. Some people might prefer that look. Another cool thing that I like to do with these personally is take a second color to add to the darker parts. So like I'm going to grab a purple, and that's going to be my shadow color on the blue. You see this? And then I can just do another value thing over that, so it's dark and I'm getting lighter. See that? And that makes your colors look a little more complex. This is like a next level of coloring. Is when you're mixing and layering colors like this. That's definitely like the more advanced way to color something. Is just to not use just one color, is to use multiple colors. You see that? Look at how deep that made it. It really changed it up. And then I can even just use my blue on this green part if I want to make the shadows. My blue pencil needs to be sharpened. Maybe I'll just use purple there too. Why not? It's gonna have the same effect. You have those two colors mixed together and it's just creating like a deeper shadow down there. So there you have it. That's the way this project works. And it helps to look at it from far away. Like if I look at my screen, it gives me a smaller picture and I can adjust. Or like if you want to kind of walk away from your table and look at it from far away, you get a view for like, is this really working? If you're really close to it, it's harder to see the 3D effect. But when you get farther away, you know, like if you look at it up close, it doesn't look as 3D. You're kind of more focused on the lines, but as you get farther away, the illusion starts to take hold, right? And this one will take a while, but I would say stick with it. It's a very satisfying one to finish and see what the finished product looks like. All right, so just keep working at that. So yeah, I'm just going to keep coloring for a little while. Probably have my mic off so that you can focus a little bit, and I'll check back in a few minutes. So I've never done it this way before, but I just discovered that coloring, because I was coloring horizontally like this way, but coloring vertically on these feels pretty good. At least I like it that way, like, you know, going dark to light, going vertically like this, right? Up and down, rather than shading in like this. It seems to be going a lot smoother for me to do it that way. I'll just kind of give you another example. See, the way I was doing it was like this. This is the way I was doing it. But then this is the way I just started doing it. It's this way. And this feels a lot smoother, and I think it looks better too. But it's just your own personal preference. And see, try both, see what works for you. I think this way you're gonna maybe color outside the lines a little bit more. It's a little harder to control on those edge lines, but you just gotta figure out what works for you. We are just about out of time. I gotta get my mic right here. Okay, we're just about out of time. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And if you need to spend some more time on this, that's fine. If you ran out of time and you got other things you need to do, that's okay too. Don't worry about it. But, you know, this one's really, really good practice. If you finish this whole thing, you know, we'll have individually shaded so many different shapes. And each one, you're getting a little better all the time, okay? So consider this a really nice practice. And hey, maybe you ended up with an awesome artwork. Cool. Just a little announcement. We do have the art hangout going on. We did our first one last week and it was really fun. Had a few students and we just hung out. We made some art. We got to share art. It's just really casual and cool. So you should try that out. It's not something you have to do. It's just a totally optional thing. There's a link in the description to this video, and that's going to tell you how to join the Google Classroom for the art hangout. Okay? So you just put that code in Google Classroom, and then you will see the times and the links to join the art hangout from there. Okay? It is going to be on Wednesday from 3 o'clock to 3:30. All right? So just join up on Google Classroom and that link in the description, and you'll get everything you need from there. Well, it's been fun, everybody. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.